Good evening. My name is Tyler Guy, and tonight I will be presenting my critical assignment presentation for Kinesiology 303. Let's get started. So first, I picked exercise physiology, mainly because I got into podcast somehow at work, and gradually I got into exercise and fitness. And one of the guys I listened to, he's an exercise physiologist, and I just like immersed myself in the science of exercise and fitness and nutrition, biomechanics, and nervous system, and all of that. And I really want to work with young adults, specifically recreational athletes, just because like that's what I relate to. So I think it'd be really great to work with some of them. As I stated, the science of some of the consequences of exercise is intriguing. Physiology is essentially just the adaptations and the effects of exercise on the body. So I'm really into that. One of the organizations that I had to research is the American Society of Exercise Physiologists. It's kind of the same idea as a journal, whereas you have a group and they get together and they discuss the latest research and they put their ideas forward and figure out ways to advance the science that's being researched at the time. There's some benefits. They're kind of similar licensure and EPC. You can get a credential that could be useful, especially if you're trying to find a job. Current job trends, yeah. Entry level is a bachelor's degree, usually in kinesiology or exercise science. It doesn't grow as fast as some others, and the salary isn't great. But then again, 50 grand in California is different than 50 grand in the southern states, for example. It's supposed to grow 10%. Not fantastic, not as much as others, as you can see in the slide, but it is what it is. Education requirements, I kind of already touched on this. First, you're going to need a bachelor's degree in excuse me, physiology, exercise science, or kinesiology. Basic life support certifications, so CPR, AED, those are big things. Two universities I looked at even before this assignment was Florida State and Tennessee. One, because I have family down there, so I like to be around them. And two, I looked into them and they have some pretty good exercise physiology courses. I chose those four specific electives because I feel like they'd be the most applicable. So applied exercise physiology for obvious reasons. Fitness assessments and exercise prescription. I think that would go along with the need for a personal trainer certification, where the first half of one of those is how to assess others. Nutrition science and principles of conditioning athletes is just kind of just for fun. Scholarly studies. So the history is very important. You get into who did what, how certain theories came to be about, such as sliding filament theory for muscles, and you get to see like the evolution of thinking and technology. It's kind of cool to see. When it comes to the some ethical portions, you really have to think about how what you're doing is affecting the patients. And you have to follow certain guidelines. I'm an interview with a professional. That was really fun. I got to sit down with my old coach from high school. And the two main points that he made was that the team mentality is very rare, meaning that teenagers these days don't want to work together. So team mentality is pretty rare. I didn't really see it as an athlete just because obviously he was my coach and excuse me, he harped on those things a little bit more, but he did say that in the last 5 to 10 years he's seen that, and I suppose you could attribute that to the millennial quote unquote trends, but it is what it is. I think he was pretty good at adapting and getting around that. In terms of who he would hire, trust and consistency are the two things that he really wanted. He basically explained that he can teach you how to teach skills and teach you what he wants you to tell the kids, but if he can't trust you to care for the kids, then he doesn't want you to be on his coaching team, which makes sense because as a coach, you're supposed to be there for him. And consistency, obviously, you don't want to flake. You want someone that's really committed, and someone that wants to be there. Becoming an activity professional. A little bit more into the PractApp side. Right now, I currently possess a CPR AED certification, being that I work on aircraft on the in the military. So, working on electrical systems, we're all required to be CPR qualified. So I already have that, and right before my contract is up, I plan on renewing that just to have it for another 2 years. Soon I will be pursuing a personal training certification. A lot of jobs I looked at required one. I already did 2 courses, didn't finish them for whatever reason, but I really plan on actually finishing it because most jobs that I've looked at in the field want a certification along with a degree. A lot of exercise physiologists work in cardiac rehab, so it makes sense that an internship in that area would be required. A master's degree would be something that I would look forward to. As I stated earlier, at Florida State and Tennessee, that would be not necessarily required, but pretty much recommended, almost necessary in order to be competitive and take what I've learned in my BS and my MS and apply that learned information to myself and to others, in order to do the Lord's work. All in all, two of the words that really stuck out to me throughout the course was holiness and character. And I feel like they really go hand in hand, being that if you possess the characteristics of those that are holy, not necessarily perfection. God doesn't expect us to be perfect, but although He is, and He is the definition of holy, we should strive to be like Him, and that would require character, obviously, knowing that humans and those around us might not say what we're doing. He always will, and obviously we can't hide anything from Him. So those can be applied to the workplace. Character. Are you going to tell someone the right thing when no one's looking? Are you going to really be looking out for their best interest? And lastly, I learned that there's a lot of necessary steps in my career. Obviously, I'm going to need a personal training certification. I'm going to need CPR, AED. I'm going to need a bachelor's, master's. I'm going to need internships, all those things. And I'm really happy that I went through this course. When I first started, I thought it was kind of whatever, but I'm really, really glad that I ended up finishing it. So that is my presentation.